he didn't want to teach you how to do it. He wanted you to watch him do it.
Okay.
But he was a good plumber. I mean, he did things right. Even when it came to reading blueprints, he would not let you stand next to him. He'd lay them out on sheetrock that was up on the floor, and I'd have to stand on the other side of the pile of sheetrock. So I learned to read blueprints upside down. I made sure that, like, whenever they threw away this set of prints and brought out a new set, I'd carry that set home, turn around, read it the right way, so I could learn how to read blueprints. I want to learn what the legend is. Where's the electrical? Where's the structural? Where's the plumbing? Why does this say refer to this page? And I'd go back and forth and look and learn how to figure out what drawing to look at. Tradesmen built America. Not policymakers or desk jockeys, but hardworking, blue-collared men and women. Join me, Roger Wakefield, on conversations with some of the nation's most successful skilled laborers. This is the Trade Talks. What is the biggest mistake you've ever made working on a customer's house?
You make mistakes all the time.
You bet.
I would do a couple things differently on my house. Even making videos, I've done something in videos where I'm like, shouldn't have done it that way. And a lot of times in the videos, I'll say, hey, I messed up, when I realize it. I'll put that in front of whatever it is that I mess up, which actually happened pretty recently. I made a cut the wrong way on replacing a door jamb, and water could seep in there. And I'm like, okay, I messed up. You shouldn't do it this way. Put the angle the other way. I'm going to leave it because it's not a big deal for me, but it might be for you. And I want to show you the right way, But as far as on a customer's house, I mean, I've accidentally hit pipes and, gotten things a little wet. I've cut wires, that kind of stuff. No, like catastrophic things. We did have a roof off of a house and didn't tarp it and got like one of the biggest rainstorms ever. And everything underneath was all finished.
How do you describe that to a customer? And
luckily I wasn't the guy, I had my boss and we were actually working with another company. And so they had to explain it, which was, I can't imagine what he would say. Sorry about your house, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Gee, we were almost finished.
Yeah.
I've seen plumbers make mistakes, and, thanks to social media, we get to see people try to change out an angle stop live or something, and water's flooding out from under a cabinet.
Oh yeah.
Luckily, I've never had a major problem like that. But yeah, untarping a house, and I can understand it in a lot of areas, because it's like, look, it never rains. But then all of a sudden, the day you don't, it's like, like you said.
It's that one time. That's all it takes.
How bad was it?
Rain pouring down the second floor into the first. All on the couches, all on the electronics, the TV, everything.
But since you had the roof off, were the people living in the house or no?
Not at the time. I think they were in a hotel or something.
So how did you get into the trades? What made you, explain coming out of high school and looking at your future.
Yep.
And tell me the decisions you made and how you got to where you are.
When I got out of high school, I went to college. That was like, kind of the thing that everybody wanted to do.
Now, did you want to go, or did your friends and family really want you to go?
I think it was a good thing that my friends and family kind of wanted me to go. My parents, they said I could do whatever I want, obviously.
I love that.
Yeah.
Congrats to them.
And they're like a huge part of why I'm here right now, because anything that I've, ever done, they've said, go for it. Because you never know. You might be on Roger Wakefield's podcast one day.
It could happen one day.
So, getting out of high school, I went to community college, and I wanted to go for video and audio. And so I went there for 2 years, awesome programs there. And then I needed a job, and my brother's friend owned a construction company and he needed help. I honestly jumped in, not even thinking I would like it, just a laborer, whatever. I started working for him and fell in love with it. Really. It was really fun. All throughout that time, I went to a 4-year school, the same thing, communications, audio, video. And I was putting myself through school while working for him. And we just did everything. The first week I was laying down hardwood floors. Next week I'd be doing drywall, framing a house. And then we started working with an investor who was buying properties, and we would flip them.
You bet.
We would do all the work. And it was a good flip. Some flips aren't so good. We would like tear the entire house apart, new plumbing, new wiring, nice finishes, and sell it. Move on to the next one.
Now explain to everybody a good flip versus a bad flip, because I've seen both.
Yeah. You're trying to get away with stuff, painting over rot, fluffing up old insulation to make it look like there's some there, sketchy wiring hidden in the walls.
Under the insulation.
Right. Just covering things up. Like with my house, I wanted to make sure that I knew that everything was good. Everything that I can't see is good. If there's structure that needs to be fixed, if the floor is bouncy, figure that out. And if you're noticing it, then, put in the work and make it right. In
the beginning, you're a gopher.
I couldn't
go
read
get this.
I couldn't read a tape measure when I started.
No, I get it. That's why I said in the beginning, you're a gopher. Go get this.
Yeah.
Go get this. That's what you're good for. Go get this. Yeah. Go get this. Go get this.
But luckily, my boss, who was my brother's friend at the time, and I knew him, growing up, he was awesome. And he taught me everything.
No, I love that. To me, a good mentor is the most amazing way to learn.
I agree.
You can go through the union training program. You can sit through class. And, the bad thing about the union, some of the instructors are just there for the paycheck. That's all they care about. They don't care if you learn. They don't care if you do things right. They don't care if you do your work. They don't care if you sit back there on your phone all night.
Yeah.
I used to get in trouble as an instructor because I told my guys, put your phones up. You're here to learn. Like, Rod, you can't really tell people that. It's like, wrong. They're in my class. I can. And, when the directors of the school really don't care about the attitude or who graduates or anything like that, it's tough. You've got to fight with it. Then when there's other teachers, instructors that come in and all they want to do is talk about the local sports team every night. And it's like, guys, that's not what an education is all about.
We're here to learn. Yeah.
I love the fact that you worked with someone that not only wanted to show you how to do what he did, but he wanted to show you how to do things the right way.
Yeah. 100%.
Because as we've just talked about, there's a lot of people out there that don't know what the right way really is.
Yeah. And he would call things out and say, no, we're not doing it like that. That's hacky, and we could get away with stuff if we wanted to, but that wasn't how we did things,
One of my journeyman plumber who I've known for years came and did a repop outside of a house, and he did some stuff. Whenever I said I was going over, he's like, okay, look, let me tell you what I did. Like, okay, what do you mean? He says, well, man, I did some external piping. And I'm like, wait, no. He said, look, I talked to the homeowner. Instead of cutting open a brick, instead of doing this, I'm like, okay, well, I get over and look at it. And it was, I'm not going to say ran poorly. It could have been run a lot better.
Yeah.
And so I called him and had him come meet me over. I said, look, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you run this way and this way and this way and this way? And he said, wow, I didn't think about it. I probably should have done that. I said, well, it's okay. We can do it. And he kind of looked at me and says, what do you mean? You want me to take that out? I said, well, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I used to tell my guys when they worked for me, pretend you're walking into your mother's house or your grandmother's house. If what you're wanting to do, would you do at their house?
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
Because a lot of guys, it's like you said, on the door sill. You're like, look, it's my house. I'm not worried about it. But if it's your mother's or your grandmother's, you're going to be like, you know what?
Yeah.
I need to take this out and do it right because it's gonna make a problem, or it's gonna put water where water doesn't belong, or something's gonna happen. Because I'm like, it's like, hey, I'm like you. Hey, this ain't gonna bother me. I know. But if it's my mother's house or my grandmother's house, it's gonna be like, okay, you know what? I need to go ahead and fix this. And I think that learning the right way to do things, I think it's something that's missing today. You get a lot of these young kids in the trades. They get in, they just want a paycheck.
Right.
Hey, I'm going to show up for work every day. You just keep paying me. What made you want to learn?
As I said, I kind of fell in love with it. Even as a kid, I thought it was kind of this mysterious, like, how did you do that? Like anything, I would nail boards together and be like, okay, cool. But I never used a saw or anything like that. And it made me feel, I don't know, kind of powerful, for lack of a better term, I guess. It made me, I was proud of like seeing the whole hardwood floor done on the first day, like I did that. I've seen that so many times in somebody's house, never knew how it was done. And I just did that, so that's that's why.
It's a neat feeling.
Yeah.
There's so much pride in it.
Yes, exactly.
So tell everybody who you are and what you do.
So I am the Fixer. I have a DIY YouTube channel. I'm on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, and I basically show people how to do things by them, on their own. DIY.
Love it.
Because I believe that a lot of people are capable of a lot of things if they put their mind to it.
Okay. And what's your name?
My name's Matt.
Okay.
The Fixer.
Matt the Fixer. Okay. Getting in and learning from the right people. And I'm like you. I quit high school the middle of my junior year, into my junior year. So I didn't finish the last semester. A buddy of mine had told me about his brothers and dad that were plumbers and they loved it. So I called one of his brothers, said, hey, can you help me get a job? And he did. And I worked with him, and he was a little opposite. He didn't want to teach you how to do it. He wanted you to watch him do it.
Okay.
But he was a good plumber. I mean, he did things right. Even when it came to reading blueprints, he would not let you stand next to him. He'd lay them out on sheetrock that was up on the floor, and I'd have to stand on the other side of the pile of sheetrock. So I learned to read blueprints upside down. I made sure that, like, whenever they threw away this set of prints and brought out a new set, I'd carry that set home, turn around, read it the right way, so I could learn how to read blueprints. I want to learn what the legend is. Where's the electrical? Where's the structural? Where's the plumbing? Why does this say refer to this page? And I'd go back and forth and look and learn how to figure out what drawing to look at. It was probably better that I learned that way, because had he told me everything to do, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. I'll figure it out. But to learn it was great. And then, I did that the last half of my junior year and all through that summer. And, luckily I had a girlfriend throughout high school that called me one day, and she says, I could never marry anybody that didn't graduate high school. And I'm like, okay, I guess I should go back. So I did. Yeah. I was far enough ahead that I graduated with my class when I went back. But nowadays you can get a GED, which I don't even think they had GEDs back then. I may be wrong. 2 years in community and 4 more at a video.
Eventually. That took me about 12 years to get there, because I was doing one class at a time, paying cash.
Nothing wrong with that. I love it. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to get it.
Right. And I was always into video, always making videos since I was young. So I always wanted to do that. I had no idea that, years later, I was going to merge the two. I wish I started filming when I started working with my buddy.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a lot of fun. It would have been great. It would have been years of content, 12 years worth of content.
What made it click one day? Just buying the house, you thought, hey, I'm going to video this, or what were you doing that made you think, wow, you know what?
I tried out a couple different YouTube channels, and this was one of them. And I made a couple videos for each to see what clicked. And I made garbage disposal video. It was my very first video. And then I made just
plumbing rocks.
Little random.
Plumbing is amazing.
Yeah. And it just took off. It started doing the best out of those other channels, right? And it didn't take off for a little while after that.
And it's funny, and we'll talk more about the social media end of it later, because it doesn't take off quick. But then when it does, it can take off like the space shuttle.
Yeah.
And what all kind of work did y'all do?
We did everything from frame to finish. Only things we didn't do like foundations. We wouldn't pour a foundation. I never did carpet.
So as you started learning these different things, what made you want to learn to get really good at them? A lot of people love the job.
Mm-hmm.
But to say, look, I want to learn to do these things right.
Yeah.
And the prize got a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But something inside makes you say, look, I want to get really good at this.
So I guess another part of it is seeing the customer happy afterwards.
That's huge.
Fix their rotted windowsill and paint it all up, and then you scrape the window after and clean it.
Oh, gee, clean the window. How hard is that?
Exactly. Takes another 10 minutes,
Yes.
and they see it, and it's amazing that you even clean the window, and they're so grateful. Like, I've always been, I don't want to say a people pleaser. I like seeing people happy, and if I can help doing something, like that makes me feel good.
I used to tell my plumbers, if you do work in the bathroom, take a minute and clean the mirror.
It adds so much.
It does. It does. If you're working on a lavatory, clean the faucet. Just clean it up, make it look like new if you can. If you clean it and it's like, man, there's a rust spot here. I showed you the sink down there I need to replace. Can't clean that, but I can clean the sink and say, hey, look, this really needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
We could do that for about $800. If you decide you want it done, just let us know. Boom, boom, boom. Have you ever walked into a customer's house and thought, I don't know that I can do that?
Exactly the way they wanted. Yeah, I have, but then you give them options, because there's always a way to do something. Ripping out a load-bearing wall, you can't just tear it out of there.
I took a deep breath when you said that, because I've got one at home I'd love to take out and do some stuff, but I'm like,
yeah, you can't just rip it out of there. You got to support it the right way, temporarily rip it out, reframe it the right way, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. There's more than one right way, and there's a lot of wrong ways. So, you got to give them the options. Really, it comes down to cost and their preference. Anything can be done.
And I love that attitude, Matt. I really do. I remember I was doing a remodel on the First United Methodist Church in downtown Dallas, and I'm standing outside in the afternoon. I'm waiting on some materials to be delivered. And Rusty, the director of the school, is out there. And we had already done a lot of work, and he looked at me. He said, Roger, is there anything you can't do? Because we were doing the plumbing, the electrical, the HVAC, the mechanical part of the HVAC. We're moving a cooling tower and doing a bunch of stuff. He says, is there anything you can't do? And just where I was standing, the church was behind him. I kind of had my back to the parking lot, and I'm sitting there talking to him. And I looked up, and I'm looking at this steeple, up 100, 150 feet up in the air. And I said, Rusty, you see that steeple up there? I said, I could mount a toilet on it and make it work.
I believe you.
And he looks at me. He says, no, you couldn't. I said, no, I can't. I said, don't get me wrong. You may not want to pay the price.
Yeah.
But I promise you, it could be done. Once you learn that with your hands, you can build or fix just about anything.
Yeah.
The only thing I tell people I don't fix are like busted water heaters, the tank. If it's ruptured, you know what?
Not worth it.
Yeah. Even if I could carry it down, and probably could, send it down somewhere, have it welded. Okay, it's not going to leak. Put it back in. It's eventually going to leak again.
Yeah.
So my thought is, look, there's some things that it's not worth fixing. What's been your favorite thing to do in the DIY niche?
I like finish work.
The pretty stuff everybody gets to see.
Yeah. On my house right now that I have, I haven't done like the best finish, the best of the best materials. And we always kind of knew that we were going to be out of that house eventually. Mm-hmm. We're kind of growing out of that house. So the next house is where I'm going to really get into it and make things my own. I like doing it too. The work, I put some headphones in and just, it's relaxing to me,
You talked about pride. And one thing I try to explain to people when I'm helping them get into the trades or even talking to them about it, it's like, this is one of the most prideful professions. I could be driving down the road with you in Dallas and I'll be like, see that building there? I built that.
I do it all the time to my wife.
Yeah. And I remember my ex-wife, it'd be like, see that building? I built that. She's like, yeah, I know. You tell me every time we drive down here.
Yep. Same thing.
Okay. Tell you next time we come too. Don't worry about it.
The house that I'm in now, I've basically redone the entire thing. There was a lot of stuff. It was more outdated than anything else. And there's like two sides of it, because I kind of feel bad changing it from the way it was when we first moved in, because it's the history of the previous owners. That was our starter home. That's the way it was. We have that. We can reminisce about that house, right? And as I remodeled it, it's completely changed. So while I look at it and I'm very proud of the way it is now, and I know I fixed a lot of stuff that needed to be fixed, I'm also like a little bummed out. The old wood paneling, the old carpet. My wife does not feel the same way. She's very happy with
modern. Let's go.
Yes. And I tore out a wall, opened it up, and fixed a lot of structural things too while I was doing it. It wasn't just aesthetics, you know.
It's a better house now.
It's a better house now, yeah.
What's your dream house look like?
It's not much. It's really not much. It's just enough space for the family. You know, my wife has some things that she has in mind, like the kitchen. She wants an island to do, you know, to entertain and to have space to cook. And so she has her things. I want a walkout basement so I can have mat land in the basement, have my workshop, have a studio, and probably a game room because I'm a big nerd. But yeah, I want to have all my space in the basement and then the rest of the house, as long as it works for the family. And I know certain things, like I have a really small driveway right now, and we basically have to park on the lawn unless, you know, we have somebody move every time. Like I want to avoid that on the next house. You learn.
So you may have to pour concrete.
Well, asphalt, a lot of asphalt
like,
in Mass. Yeah. No, I might have to hire somebody to do that, but
asphalt. I hadn't thought about that. Good idea.
Yeah. And basements aren't a big thing around here either. Huh?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I know of one house that I've ever walked in or watched be built. One I just watched get built. There's a new home builder up in Allen that's doing some great work, and he built a huge basement.
Yeah.
Had a theater that when you sat in it, the seats moved and vibrated and
shook.
Wow. So like if you're in Jurassic Park and you're driving on the road, you know, your seats vibrate, and then
that's great.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, the quality of work, phenomenal. And I look at things like that, think, okay, one day when I build a house, I may want something like this. I may want something like that. After you worked for him for a while, you bought your own house. And somewhere in that process, you decided, I'm going to start videoing all this. Why didn't you think about it before when you were working with your buddy?
It just did not occur to me.
Somebody who's gone to video school for 6 years at this point.
It's also like we were always, you know, trying to get to the next job, get this job done quick. You know, time is money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So get this job done quick, go on to the next one, the next one, the next one, you know. So I think it was probably already in my head that we wouldn't stop to, you know, film because it takes a long time.
Oh, it does.
I see, you know, people like yourself doing these jobs, and I'm thinking good for them because you're stopping, taking the time, and it takes a long time to see any traction. So you can either do it because you love doing it and you want to have that just, you know, library of work that you can either show for your company or just to have for yourself.
You bet.
Or you can go for like, I want to make this a thing, and you really have to, you know, be consistent and really stick to it. And I just don't think that would have happened where we were and what we were doing. You know, I think that would have been too much to stop and film this, and, you know, but it's nothing that I ever even brought up, and I don't know why, honestly.
So right now, you shoot your video, you edit your video, you post your video, you do all of it.
I do a lot of it. I've done it myself for about 6 years. I just hired somebody in February who's helping out a lot, and they've started filming. I still edit the video, but just even filming takes such a huge weight off my shoulders. I didn't realize how hard it was. I did it myself for 6 years. It was a lot. I'm very happy to have somebody to help me out now. And I'm doing the short form stuff, you know, chopping my videos up on, you know, these other platforms. I'm having a ball doing it, and it's great to see, you know, and I'm helping people. And that's the biggest thing for me. If
there was somebody out there right now just listening to this or watching this saying, hey, look, you know, I love to shoot video, or I know how to shoot video, and, you know, I've got a job doing anything in the trades. Yep. I mean, welding, plumbing, HVAC, carpentry, handyman, it doesn't matter. What would you tell them? Start shooting now, shoot as much as you can.
Where's the camera?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Do it. Just go for it. It might take some time, you know, jump into your basement if you have a basement and film your own videos on your own time after work if you can't do it, you know. If you own your own company, take the time once a week. Just make one video and just try it once a month even, and just start doing it. I believe anybody can do it, but I don't believe everybody will do it. You know, it depends on what you want too. Like I said,
99% won't, I think,
for the work that it involves. And sometimes it's just not your thing. You just try things, it doesn't work. That's fine. You know, there's a lot of things that I've tried that I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. You know,
I keep trying it. One day I think maybe it'll work. I'm just, yeah, you know, it's funny with me because I did it a completely different way. I needed to make the phone ring at my plumbing company.
mm-hmm.
So I thought, you know, if we'll make videos and put out, we can chop them and put them on Facebook, which was really the only other social platform I was on. But we literally started making them just to make the phone ring at the plumbing company. And I made videos to teach people how to fix their own plumbing, knowing if they were in my area and they couldn't fix it or they didn't have the tools, they might say, hey, I'll call Roger. And I know nothing about editing. I had a stepson that was doing my editing, doing my content creation, posting it on YouTube, videoing it. I mean, I just showed up and looked good.
Like you do, right?
You know, do what you do.
Easy to do.
Do it. Well, I'm not going to say it's easy. They got to make me look good. And content creation's easy for me. I can look at any business and say, why don't you make these 20 videos right here? Once we started making these videos, and you know, I looked back through my channel yesterday because of a mastermind I'm in. My top performing video we shot 4 years ago. We did not plan it out. It was just like, man, we got to shoot a video.
Sometimes those are the best.
It's like, you know what? Let's shoot one teaching people how to fix their toilet. And I even remember Will like, he said, how are we going to do it? I said, well, I've got it on a trainer on a table. So we're going to roll it up in front of these doors. Let's just put a black curtain up behind it. That way they don't see the doors. And I've got on my orange shirt and my green gloves. And literally, I show people how to rebuild their toilet, how to stop a running toilet, guaranteed. And he edits it and he posts it. And he comes into my office. He said, that sucked.
I was not expecting that.
I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't like it. I said, well, it's a good video. We show people step by step, everything, and we show it very clear. And I mean, literally, we cut the back out of a tank on a toilet.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
To show people the inside. So they're literally looking inside the toilet. It's like, see this piece right here?
Yep.
And he's like, it just sucked. He said, I'm just telling you. We literally had, I think, one camera set up. There may have been two. I mean, we were shooting in an area that's about as big as that closet, maybe a little bit wider. Was literally thrown together, edited everything in 5 hours. That video's now got 4.5 million views, something like that.
Wow.
Sometimes just giving people great value, showing them how to do something that, or show them in a way other people can't show them.
That's a great story. Starting from how you were making videos for your plumbing business.
Mm-hmm.
And then your videos take off. And sometimes people just pick you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people say, that's the guy I want to watch do plumbing. Right. So I think, you know, people have picked me for whatever reason.
You bet.
And sometimes the same thing. I just need a video that week, which I try not to do as much anymore because it's, you know, I do want to be consistent, but I want to give the best value I can. And giving the value for free is exactly what I want to do. And as much information as possible. Maybe somebody else hasn't put all of that information in there and options, like, because there is more than one way to do things.
Everything.
Just giving options. You can do it this way, this way, this way. I try and show those ways or at least talk about them. And my videos tend to be a little long sometimes. And I get comments of talk too much. Get some
videos
point.
You don't talk at all.
Yeah. Some videos I don't talk at all. Some people put the timestamp. This is where the video starts 5 minutes in. But yeah, it happens all the time. I don't think a video is going to do well. And, you know, it might take months or even I've had videos take off a year, 2 years later. You know, it happened with my fixing a dryer, just replacing the dryer belt. That was a very much like, this is this type of dryer. This is the brand, but it works the same for any type of dryer. And I go through and talk about, you might have bolts here. You might have, it might be a Phillips, might be a flathead. There might be clips right here, just all the options. So it'll work for everybody. And, trying to give them the confidence to do that. And that video sat dormant for, I think, almost a year and a half. And then all of a sudden, spiked up, and it's still doing well. So
when did you decide that you needed to walk away from your job and video this house every day?
It was probably the hardest decision of my life because, I did the construction. I went to school for video. I found a job for video, left construction, and bought the house, was still able to do the construction, which I love. My other love, video, I was able to do that. Every job has their ups and downs, but that was a good job. It was really good. While I was working there, the channel takes off and it starts taking a lot more time because I want to be more consistent. I had my first son. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be able to every weekend and every night be filming stuff. I want to be able to spend time with my family and, driving 45 minutes one way to this job, being there 8 hours, getting back home, spending time with the family. I either will not be able to be doing my, my channel, or I got to leave the job. It started overtaking it, and I just made the decision. Very hard decision. I figured I can always get another job. I got the resume. Sometimes you just got to go for it. And I've been full-time for 2 years now.
You make more money now than you did back then too, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that really blew my mind, how much money you can make in social media.
Yeah. In so many different ways.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I started to make the phone ring, and I'm not even counting all the money I made with the plumbing company because it was great. We started blowing up. Business was good. Slab leaks, leak detection were our biggest things. I pretty much had to pull out of the plumbing company and let everybody else run it while I focused on social media. And I started going to conferences. I started speaking at conferences. Where are you at? And where did you start? And where did you go to from there?
I was always strictly YouTube, long form, detailed videos. And then we started branching out, doing the short form. A lot of it is cut up from my long form. And then we make, kind of one-off videos, the 60 seconds or less. And then have some that are, 60 seconds to 3 minutes. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok now. Just started a second channel on YouTube, The Fixer. Wait for the name. The Fixer
2. I've already done my research.
Yeah. So that I felt like I phased myself out of certain videos that I still want to do. Shorter, very specific to a certain product or a certain thing. Those go on the second channel now because I don't feel like I could do what I used to do, like how to set a mousetrap on my main channel. I feel like I've phased myself out. That's a bad example because that video does amazing.
I was fixing to say, I think that would be a good one.
Yeah. But like how to change the filter on a GE air conditioner model 800, those kind of videos go on the second channel. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and there might be some other ones. Amazon, I make Amazon videos too.
How do you do on Amazon? You like it?
I like it, yeah. Again, that's like I can repurpose some of the content because the clip has to be exactly of the product. Basically, You're just showing the product. Mm-hmm. And I've done some specifically for it too. Anything I buy, really. I just tell them what I think of it. Could be a bad review, could be a good review. People want to know, they want to see it and know what they're buying.
I know people making $5,000 to $10,000 a month just doing the videos like that.
Yeah.
But literally when they go on vacation, buddy of mine, he says, when I put the kids to bed, he says, I go out of the room and I walk around in the hotel and find out what I could buy on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I'll do a video about it and
That's
post
smart.
it.
That's smart.
He says, look, he says, I literally try to make about 10 videos a day.
Wow.
Just when I'm out of town.
Yeah.
But he travels a lot, and he does
Yep.
a family blog and travel blog and
Okay,
different things like that. How do you see social media as a business owner, and not social media, but
Okay.
a business owner? Your buddy who's the carpenter, how could he use what you've done to grow his business?
I get messages all the time. Are you in this area? Are you in this area? If I made videos saying, giving them value, showing them how to do it, and saying, if you want to do it, like you said, I'm in this area and I'm for hire.
And say, I never even did that.
Yeah.
I used to, above my toolbox, there used to be a banner. It said Texas Green Plumbing, had the phone number, the website, and I'd sit and face the computer, and that's where I shot everything. So literally, you go back and look at my first videos,
Yep.
over my head is that banner. But I never once said, hey, if you can't do this, call me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, guys, look, I want to teach you the right way. And here's what it is. And, when a plumber comes to look at this, make sure he tests this, and make sure he does this, and make sure he does this. And even my first videos were just sitting in front of the computer.
Yeah. And you still got a ton of phone calls.
Yeah. And people were calling saying, hey, look, I remember getting a phone call from North Carolina. We got a sewer gas smell. Can we get Roger out here? No.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, but we want Roger. Yeah, but Roger's in Texas. Roger's not coming out there. But I see what it's done for me as a business owner. Like you said, you were getting calls. You weren't even trying to get calls.
If you are kind of struggling as a business in the trades right now, it's very, you can get work, right? But sometimes you can't. And it depends, social media could help you tremendously, especially if you could do targeted ads or, getting in front of the right people that need a service. If you offer them that value and be an honest person and just try and help people, I think it's huge.
Do you ever do anything with ads on social media?
No, because I'm not for hire.
Yeah, I never have.
Yeah.
And I think here lately they're starting to do them for courses I'm creating and things like that.
Okay,
But nothing for plumbing.
Yeah.
None. It's like, you know what? I just make videos.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because I remember walking into that first conference. I was like the only tradesperson there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were literally looking at me like, why are you even here? It's like, I don't know. I'm here to learn something. I remember the girl saying, look, I don't even know who you're going to hang out with. It's like, don't you worry about me. I'll be fine. But in the beginning, once we started, because literally I walked out of that conference, and a month later, we started posting 3 videos a week, every week. Now I've got a team. It's easy. I think we should be able to do twice as much as what we're doing, but I think we kind of slow down and get comfortable and just, hey, we're not in any rush.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think it helps us make better videos.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, I just wanted to make good videos to make the channel ring at the plumbing company. And I was probably into it 6 months to almost a year before I started realizing, wait, there's other plumbing YouTube channels that people are watching. What are they doing?
Yeah.
And I started learning, how to watch them and see them. And then I started finding tools where, how big are they? How small am I? How many millions of views do they have? How few hundreds do I have? And started looking at all that. And then I started saying, okay, look, I want to be one of the best plumbing channels. And then after a year or two, it's like, okay, we've done that. Now I want to be one of the best YouTube channels. I want to be a channel that people look at and say, wow, I want to do what Roger did, or I want to do the way Roger did. Or, I mean, we've spent a fortune in cameras and specialty lenses and lights, and we build blast chambers so we can blow stuff up. I almost wish I was my own editor, because I see things a certain way sometimes. And I think you've got a great advantage there. Are you always going to edit yourself?
Depends on if somebody can do it the way I do it. That's one of my favorite things. I could probably give it up a little bit and still do like maybe the short form or a video every now and again. I don't think I'll ever stop editing though. It's
something you're good at. I mean, I love watching your videos. I love the way they flow, the videography, the cuts, just everything. If people wanted to find you, What all social media platforms is it? The Fixer on every one of them?
It's The Fixer on YouTube.
Okay.
And then because the Fixer name was taken at the time, I don't know why, I'm the real Fixer, guys, I promise.
There you go.
And any of these platforms, if you search The Fixer, I should pop up. But I think it's The Fixer YouTube, at The Fixer YouTube on a couple of the platforms. But if you search The Fixer, I should show up.
So going back to that first day, you walked out to your brother's friend, his company. You're going to learn construction, carpentry, handyman, plumbing, electrical, any and all. And what all did they tell you were going to learn? That you're going to learn how to do everything, or?
I literally thought I was going to carry 2x4s.
Okay.
Yeah, it was much more than that.
And that was 12 years ago?
That was...
No, you did 12 years doing it, so it's 14 years ago.
19 years ago.
19 years ago. Okay. So 19 years ago, 2020 or 2004-ish. If you could go back today and be outside when little Matt comes walking out the door, he's headed out to his job the very first day, and you could give him some advice based on everything you know now, what would you tell him? What would you teach him?
I'd stop him dead in his tracks. I would say, take this camera, talk to Doug, convince him that this is going to be a thing and that he's going to love it, and start filming. Everything you do, you learn your stuff first, convince him. And I think little Matt could have done that.
So if it was about carpentry, construction, the work, what advice there?
Just learn as much as you can, everything you can. Be patient. Don't think you deserve more than you actually do, because you need to work your way up to deserving it. You need to earn your way, and it takes a long time in any industry. You can't just jump in and be the best. You can't make the most money. You can't be the guy that everybody's going to go to, and sometimes other tradesmen aren't very nice to you. Some are really cool, but just, have thick skin, push through, learn as much as you can, just get better.
It's been great, Matt. Thank you so much.
It's been awesome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.